Hello everyone. As we take place, we can start.
Young Mr. Arvid.
So welcome everyone for this new edition of the Software Development Thursday. Today we will focus on our main pillar of the smart specialization strategy we implemented on the Open Data Hub. The topic will be the new data browser, the technique behind the new data browser, and Christian will do us an introduction of what we did in the last year, what are the new functionality we implemented, and what we have actually in beta for the moment. So I won't steal him much more time, and thank you, Christian, for being here, and the stage is yours.
Okay, thank you, Stefano. Hello, everybody. So let's see if this works. Okay, and yeah, hello, and welcome to my presentation of the data browser for the Open Data Hub. So it's already the third time that I'm talking about it, but there is a lot of stuff going on, and I want to show you today a little bit what we are doing. First, I give you some introduction, and then yeah, we will see what we did and what we are discussing about and what we want to achieve. Okay, so first, as an introduction, what is the Open Data Hub? I think most of you already know what the Open Data Hub is, but maybe there are some people that don't know it already. So the Open Data Hub, the idea is to have a single access point to all the open data from the region of South Tyrol. So this was the main idea. It may now a little bit diverge from this original idea, but this is the main idea. So the open data from South Tyrol should be accessible there for anyone. Then the Open Data Hub covers different domains. So what does that mean? There are main topics for the datasets, as we call them, and we partition them into the domains. So there's a tourism domain, for example, that contains data about accommodation, about points of interest, about articles, about events, stuff like that. And then we have the mobility domain that covers data about traffic, about parking, and yeah, things that you need when you are mobile or when you are traveling. And then there is the other domain. It covers data sets that don't belong to any of the prior two domains, so they are just inside the other domain. Now, the Open Data Hub contains a lot of interesting data. So if you never took a look at it, you can do that. Now you can do that even with the data browser. There was a data browser before, which went quite well, but because of some reasons that I will say afterwards, there was a decision to implement a new data browser. So there's a lot of interesting data inside the Open Data Hub. And yeah, take a look at it. For example, today I came from Innsbruck here to here. And I was driving and it took me almost 2.5 hours. So maybe it would have been better to take a look at the mobility data. Maybe there would have been the information that today is not a good day to travel or to take the train. Now, yeah, the Open Data Hub makes the data available through different endpoints. So there is, for example, a REST API that you can use to interact with the Open Data Hub. There is Sparkle endpoints that you can use to query the Open Data Hub. So this is those are the technical ways to interact with the Open Data Hub. Now, technical APIs are nice for developers because, yes, as a developer, we know how computers work and how to go around and what does REST mean, for example. But for normal users, it is not really accessible. for example, a business manager or a salesperson doesn't know really what to do with the terminology REST. So what is it supposed to do? It's also not easy to get an overview of the available data if you just have the raw technical APIs like REST. So if you are lucky, you get something like Swagger definitions or OpenAPI definitions of the API. So you get some introduction or some point to start to interact with an API. But it's still not that easy. And also another problem of technical APIs is that there are no guidelines for new visitors. So if you, for example, get a link or you hear, take a look at that, you go there. In a good case, you get the Swagger or the OpenAPI definitions. In a bad case, you get nothing. And you don't really know where to start, where to look at, what to expect. And yeah, so this is something, as a developer, you have ways to get along. But as an ordinary person, it will be very problematic to find out what's in there. So the solution envisioned by NOI was to have a data browser, which is a dedicated web application to access the data of the Open Data Hub and to interfere with it. Now, the main goals of the data browser were, as I already said, to allow easy access to the Open Data Hub data. So it should be easy for everybody to read the data. If you have the rights, then you can also edit data or you can add data, but you have to have the rights, so you have to talk to NOI first. Another goal was to focus on the user interface and the user experience, so it should be a pleasure, or at least nice to work with this tool, and it should not be like a person sees it, turns around and goes away because it's so awful. Another goal was to simplify data discovery, so it should be quite easy for people to take a look at the data and to find out what data is inside there. Is it interesting? Is it something I want to build a business on, or I want to build some research on? So it should be, it should be easy to find out what's in there. So for that, for example, we have an overview of datasets. This is something simple and easy, but it's something helpful to have. We have search, we have filters, we have sorts of datasets, so you can trim down your question quite easily and take a look, is there something in for me? Then another goal was to make the data browser configurable, so it should adapt to the needs of the user. And it should adapt in a way that there is no need for a technical person to interfere. So each user should be able to, for example, say, okay, I want to get visualized that parts of a data set. I'm not interested in the other parts, I'm not interested in maybe the location stuff and so on. I'm just interested in the names because I'm happy to read names. Yes, it should be configurable, and another aspect was that we want to enable the data browser to show data, new data, without changing its implementation. So in the best case, it should be like NOI says, we want to add this data set to the Open Data Hub, and as soon as the data is available inside the Open Data Hub, you can use the data browser and take a look at it. You can sort, you can filter, you can all of that stuff. You can do anything of that. So that's quite a tough goal, and we follow that, and it works not perfectly, but it works, and during the increments we will make it better. Another goal was to provide tools for developers, because at the end, developers are those that will take the data and transform it in something more valuable that you can take a look at, or you can even sell or use for research or whatever you want. So developers are also a target audience for us. And here, for example, we provide some simpler stuff like if you have filtered your data, you get the final URL that you just can reuse in your app, or you can copy paste or can somewhere along, and you will get that data out from the API, so you get a real API call. There's a bit more advanced stuff like showing the data in its raw format. There is other stuff like diffs. So if you are allowed to change data, you will see in a diff what did you change and where did the change happen. So this is something quite nice, and I personally, when I develop for the data browser, I use those tools, so they are quite handy. Another tool that will come along maybe in the near future is a JSON editor for the data inside there. If all goes right, then we will have a JSON schema for it, which is extracted from the OpenAPI specification. So you get source code completion for the properties, and yeah, you can then modify the data on a more technical level. Okay, here are some design examples. So you get an idea on how this looks like. On the top left, we see a curated list of datasets. So this list is taken care of by the NOI team, and they say, okay, this we want to present this in a special way. We want to put some more effort into those datasets because we think they have high value, and yeah, so you get extra information out of it. For example, there is for a specific data set, like here for the articles, you get the sources, so where does the data come from? What is the availability? What is the licensing for? How many records are inside there? You get a description, you get additional links, you get, maybe in the future, you get some tutorials, some links to other stuff. So this is for the overview of the data sets, as I said before, to get into the idea what the data is inside the data browser. This is made for that part. On the bottom left, you see a list of the records for a given data set. So for example, here we see the data records for the article data set. So we see in each row one record, and for the columns you see the properties of the data set. And this is also one example where we want to make it configurable for the user, so that the user can say, okay, I don't need this column, don't show me, but I need this other column, and show me the data in this column, for example, using this component. So you are free to use, to decide how you want to render the data. On the bottom right, you see an example of details for a single record. So again, we are, I think, in the articles. No, this is the region, doesn't matter. Yeah, you see this is the details. It's a little bit more nice, a little bit nicer. It contains most of the data. And yeah, you can then take a look at the details for this data set. We have also other views. We have, for example, the edit view, we call it, where you can modify the data if you are allowed to. We have then the raw view to get the JSON information. Now we have also the quick view, thanks to the team behind there, which gives a nice impression of the data of a record. So you really go there and you see, wow, that looks nice, and it's something that you can present also to others. Okay, so the stuff I was talking about now, this is, I was talking already on the SFSCon 2022, so nothing new there, or almost nothing new there. Now let's see which way we went from SFSCon 2022 and what are the highlights since there. Now, first highlight, productive release in January 2023.
Use it. The link is over there.
The link is over there.
Don't be
yes.
shy, try, use it, provide us feedback.
Please use it. Please give us feedback. Please try to destroy it. Mind you, it's still beta, so you will be able to destroy it. So, but let us know how you destroyed it so we can fix it. Yeah, there is still heavy development on the data browser, so some things will maybe break, hopefully not, but we cannot say that it won't happen. Some things will not work perfectly. So yeah, beta tech applied. Okay, so some of the new features that we implemented since SFSCon 2022 is the ability to edit the records. I mentioned this already. So if you are allowed to, so if you have the right authorization, first the authentication, you can change the data inside the data browser. And there is limited support also to create new records, so you are able to insert new data into the data browser. Limited in this case means that at the moment you won't be able to create new records for any data set, because this is still some topic that we are discussing. How do we present this feature to the people so they know how to use it? So how can we simplify the interface for ordinary people to create new records? And yeah, it may be hard, it may be simple, we don't know it yet, we have to talk about it, we will implement then some solution. Another big feature is the integration of the metadata API. So the metadata API is a data set inside the Open Data Hub itself. And yeah, and it provides metadata over the Open Data Hub. So it provides the interesting information that you see, for example, in the overview pages. This information is stored inside the metadata API or metadata data set. And yeah, we generate the overviews, the lists, the descriptions, and a lot of stuff out of this metadata API. You can change the metadata API, the entries or the records inside the metadata API using the data browser. So you can modify the data browser itself by using the data browser and interfering with the Open Data Hub. So this is some quite nice idea. It is first step we did, and I think we will extend it in the future. So there will be more stuff that we put inside there. Then a lot of new components were implemented for the visualization. Since the last talk about the data browser, for example, now we have HTML components, or you can enter HTML. We have the image gallery stuff, so a little bit more sophisticated to interact or to define image galleries. Now we have a map component, and yeah, lots more. We have also some simpler components that were missing, like data inputs, but now we have them. Yeah, lots of new components. Then we have lots of configurations for better user experience. So the UI of the data browser, the idea is that the UI is rendered outside of, or is rendered from configurations. And it is possible to auto-generate this configuration, but it looks not that perfect, at least for the step that we have now, or for the iterations that we have now. But it's also possible to define configurations manually. And that's quite some work, and the NOI support team, thank you. Not here. Did this work to improve this a lot, so it works really good, and it looks nice, in my opinion. But I'm a developer, I don't have so good taste, so it's maybe, but take a look at it. I think it's nice. Then we have the quick view, which is a new feature. Credit to Flash Me, people over there. So the quick view is a nice first impression of a record. And this is something that you should be able to present to your customers or to your boss or to your grandmother, knows? Maybe she's interested in what the stuff looks like. And yeah, so you already see this is a community effort, the whole data browser, and it's nice. Then new features that are currently under development are the search and the filters. So you are able to trim down on the data that you want to access, to find out if it's there and to get the data. Another thing that we are currently developing is the end-to-end tests. So this is something to improve reliability of the application itself. So if we break stuff, then the best case we find it out before we deploy it. And yeah, so it should help to improve the stableness, to improve how the data browser works and that it matches the expectations that people have. Now there are also future topics, so the development is not finished now. One evergreen is to improve the automatic configuration. So this is, we have some steps, but there are still other steps that we want to take to improve that stuff. We want to finally implement the user configurability. So I was talking about that before. The user should be able to decide what parts of data he wants to visualize, and in the end also how to visualize that. And this also intersects a bit with the web components, because it is possible to define web components that should be used to render data. And we have a proof of concept, so this integration works. And I imagine, I didn't talk with the others about that, but I imagine it would be possible for example, for a company or some developers to develop web components by their own, given a specific interface. And then another person can say on the data browser, okay, I want to take that web component, not developed by NOI, but by somebody else, that web component, to render this data, or this part of data. So this is also something that's in reach. So we have the web component integration, it's working. The other stuff, we will see if we do it or how we do it. Yeah. Some ideas, lots of ideas. And another future topic is to integrate the mobility domain. At the moment,
Far away.
not that far away. Yeah, at the moment, the data browser shows only the data of the tourism domain. The integration of the mobility domain is something that we want to approach in the next iterations. So this will be a big next step, because the data quite differs from the tourism domain. So in the mobility domain, you have, for example, also time series that you don't have in the tourism domain. So yeah, it will be interesting to integrate this. And there is lots of other stuff that we want to do. Yeah, lots of interesting areas and problems to solve. We have a lot of architectural challenges and discussions going on. How to organize the code, how to find the right abstraction level inside the code, how this code should work together, for example. We have also discussions about, for example, styling. How do we apply correct styling, or how do we want, or what is our idea of styling? How do we want to use that? So we use Tailwind CSS since the beginning, but yeah, we have had also a discussion: should we apply the CSS, the Tailwind classes directly on elements, or should we create custom styles? So this is a little bit more technical, but yeah, lots of ideas and discussions. Another area is data models and queries. So the data models are inside the Open Data Hub. So this is the domain of the Open Data Hub. But since the data browser heavily interferes with the Open Data Hub, there's also some discussion going forward and backward, and yeah, some ideas that we interchange. on how data models could look like, what works good, what doesn't work that good, what are best practices that we want to follow along. And also for the query part, how do we want to query that? What is performance? What is what should be filterable? Yeah. Also, how, for example, how to store data, how search something. What are different kinds of ways to interact with the Open Data Hub, and how the Open Data Hub models these requirements. Then UI by configuration, as I said before, so always worth a discussion. And something that I came along in the last iteration, an interesting problem, I thought I put it on the slide here, it was to implement the filters. It turned out that we need a dedicated parser to pass the URL part of the filters to show the correct filter settings inside the UI. So the problem was, if you, for example, get sent a URL, to click on the URL contains filters, then the data browser should show you which filters are set and how they are set. And it turned out that the filter query is context-free grammar. So you have the parentheses, and you can nest it, and yeah, welcome. So yeah, we had, well, let's say it so, the solution to this, the correct solution to this is to have a context-free grammar parser, which was also implemented as a proof of concept. But we took a little bit of a shortcut. At the moment, we say we don't have, or the data browser doesn't support nested filtering. So this is a feature that maybe we will add later on. The Open Data Hub supports it already, but it gets a bit complicated in the user experience side, because for people, the words, the language of people is sometimes ambiguous, and this doesn't translate very well to computer language. Example, and or is something in the language that people talk is ambiguous. For one is one says, I want, for example, have all coins with 5 cents and 10 cents. So the person means give me all coins with 5 and 10 cents. But in reality, if you translate that to computer, you say I want 5 cents or 10 cents. So, and if you start to then do nested filtering with and or capability, this is something that's not easy to explain how it works to the user. So we want the user to get an idea what he or she wants, and to understand how to use the tool and to what to expect. So yeah, and, for this we took the shortcut and said, okay, no nested filtering, but if we apply it, then we have the context-free grammar parser on the front end. Yeah, so if you didn't fall asleep until now and you are interested, then please join us. You see down here the GitHub link for the project itself. And you can always write us at help@opendata.com, or also info@opendata.com. But I think Stefano will tell you afterwards the best ways. Thank you for listening, and do you have questions?
Thank you, Christian, for your presentation. I can only add that you can join us in a different way, becoming a tester of our beta version and sending us feedback through the help@opendata.com, and our team will be happy to help you and analyze your feedbacks. You can join us also by becoming a contributor. We are trying, we are willing to develop our Open Data Hub tools, the entire tools as a community-oriented tools. For this reason, we implemented end-to-end testing. We recently published on the GitHub repo also development guidelines that can help you in understanding how you can contribute us by lowering the enter barrier in becoming a contributor. So don't be shy if you want to contribute, you can do it. But now I want to give you time and feedback, questions. Who is willing, just raise your hand. I will come with the mic. Nobody.
Let's break the ice. Patrick NOI Techpark, I would like to know, you talked about the tourism domain and the mobility domain. When will the agriculture domain follow?
Okay, Patrick, nice to meet you. So each year you have new questions. Agriculture domain, a new one. Didn't know that one. So last year it was the mobility domain. Now it's the agriculture domain. I don't know. So we have to take a look at the schedule, at our roadmap. I know that we are going to start work on the mobility domain in the near future. So I expect that in the beginning of summer there are some results in the at least testing environment. With beginning summer, I mean end of June. Yeah, when we've done that, we will see. So the whole project it takes an iterative approach. So if we see that new stuff comes in, we will re-evaluate on what is important and what is less important. So I don't know when it will be, but yeah, we can do that.
I can help you, Christian. So as Christian said, in June we will start with the integration of the mobility domain, which I suppose won't differ that much from the agricultural domain, because it's mostly tourist domain or content data, picture, video, photos, descriptions, and mobility domain we have the time series, and so we have two really different things. So the biggest step will be integrating the mobility. So once we are done with the mobility domain, I think we will be also quite quick in activating new domains, because the main data types are already managed. And as Christian said, we met, the core team met every week for short sprints to define priorities, so we can reprioritize everything quite fast. And so if there is a need, we will be sure we will met the dates we will have.
Thank you.
You said you wanted to make it possible that the list view will be configurable by the user, like to show the columns or to show other columns that are not configured. Like how would that impact the code? Like because some things would there be configurable automatical, or like would they be hidden, or like does it change the code itself?
Yeah, good question. So I know that you already know how the configuration looks like, because you contributed a lot in drawing this configuration. The idea is to let the user define this configuration, but not on a JSON level, but on something, for example, like click, I want that, and that, and that. So I want to have this property rendered by the component string style, for example. And this configuration will be stored either on the Open Data Hub or inside the local storage in the browser. So we have to discuss what's the best way. Local storage is a bit problematic because it's browser specific, but it needs to be stored somewhere. And when the user has this configuration, then it's we don't need to change the code. We just need to say, okay, use this configuration instead of this configuration. So the most simple example would be, for example, a user doesn't want to have the first column. So in the end, the user just removes the first entry from the configuration array, and that's it.
So it changes the configuration they change.
Yes, but not not the fixed configuration that we made. So not the TS files.
Okay.
The changes are stored somewhere else. So either on the profile of the user on that side, or somewhere locally in the browser. So we have to talk about what's the best way. So the easiest way would be to store it in the local storage, storage somewhere there, local storage maybe, in the browser. But the best way would be to have Open Data Hub API to store user-defined data. We will see.
Yeah, we need to see how to develop it. Maybe we can also add an API which provides the configuration through a JSON file, and so the user or the data browser will ask, is there a specific configuration for this user? If yes, it will become the JSON file that overrides the standard configuration which you as customer care did for all the files. Otherwise, if not, the standard configuration will be that one. For sure, we won't touch the code for each user we will have. Otherwise, we will become crazy, and it's not doable for us. But it's a thing we will develop in the second half of the year. We will start in the next month to discuss how to do it and how to implement it, and we have to see which are the best technical solution we have, and the smarter one, and then we will implement it. So. Someone else has question or wants to share his experience with similar tools or suggestion for our team? Otherwise, I will start with a quick presentation round, just saying your name, your affiliation, and 3 words that describes you as well. I will start. Stefano Seppi, NOI Techpark, IoT, free software, and Open Data Hub.
Enrico, Real Gymnasium Bozen, also here at NOI sometimes, and Open Data Hub, front end, and Rust.
Luca Miotto, I'm part of the Tech Transfer Digital team. I would say free software, licensing, and SFS.
Udi Töni, part of the digital team coordinated by Patrick, developer, Open Data Hub, tourism.
Chiara Lefkoli, part of the customer care team. University of Bolzano.
Delia Megnitti, customer care team, and Yuli Bizet, Open Data Hub, data browser.
I'm Clemens Zagler. I'm part of the software architects working on the Open Data Hub. So I'd say for me it's Open Data Hub, mobility, and infrastructure.
I'm Simon Dallo, I'm also software architect in the digital team, and Open Data Hub, mobility, and Java.
Okay, I'm Emily, I'm a freelance, and I work with the digital team of NOI Techpark on events. So I'm going to say SFSCon, Hackathon, and Open Data Hub Day.
I'm Lucas Meyer. I'm a student of the University of Innsbruck, and my 3 words are Data Hub contributor, computer science nerd.
I'm Ilaria Russo, business informatics student, Uni Bizeta, customer care team, and open data.
Hello everybody, I am Bertiana Baglio. I work for Tauma, it's a spin-off a startup here in NOI Techpark, and we work for better government of small enterprises with innovator or innovation application, and we use a lot of data, and I work with data.
Alessio Grea, full stack developer in Flashping. I help with some components of the quick queue.
Matteo Biasi, teammate of Alessio, and yeah, I work on the same thing basically, and mainly I'm a front-end developer with a lot of experience in UI UX.
Patrick Honewein, NOI Techpark. The three words are open data, open source, and open standards. And I would like to add that the 19th of May we will have the Open Data Hub Day here at NOI Techpark. It will come. I see Stefano has prepared, so don't miss this opportunity.
Thank you. Hi everyone, Gianluca Antonacci from the company Chisma here at NOI Techpark. I'm an environmental engineer and above all data consumer and also data provider in the mobility domain.
Hi, I'm Leonardo from Tarragona, and three words. I'm a student. I have a lot of information technology, so I like to take part of these events to learn something new.
Hello, I'm Nicola Pedot. I'm a Java developer. I'm a freelancer. I'm agile addicted and domain-driven design sponsor.
Hello, my name is Thomas Kruis. I've been a business analyst until some time ago in Amsterdam, and now I'm back in South Tyrol since 2 or 3 months. And I like this opportunity to somehow connect what's going on in here. And actually I'm very interested to see the Open Data Hub and to also see what the future will bring. As in principle, I do think that it is very interesting to see what kind of data can be made publicly available, and to see also somehow how that can be used in this kind of data. Yeah, I would like to thank you for the presentation. It was really nice. Yeah.
You're welcome. So, just before concluding the event, I will present the upcoming events. You've heard already some spoiler. Big one, the nearest one is the Open Data Hub Day, as said by Patrick, 19th of May at 9 AM downstairs in the seminar area. We will do a presentation of what we did in the last year, what changed on all the Open Data Hub Day. We will have also a lot of data providers, data consumers that present their experience with the Open Data Hub, and we will have also a presentation about what's going on in data spaces in Europe. So if you are interested in the topic, register it on the opendatahub.com website. You will find all the information. The program is already online, so maybe you already received an invitation. I don't know. Some of you, I'm sure. Then in the afternoon of the same day, we will have a boot camp. So a hands-on workshop. You will have the possibility to develop something together with our software architects. We do this event in order to let our community of developers grow and share the knowledge we did in the last years developing the Open Data Hub. So if you are interested in contributing, starting developing with us, register also to this event. It will be the opportunity to start to contribute and help us in the developing and know something more also about how to consume and how to interact with the Open Data Hub. Then the next Software Developer Thursday, it will be the 8th of June, so not the 1st of June, because there is the 2nd of June, a ponte, possible ponte, so it will be the 2nd Thursday of the month, not the first one.
Title.
The title, okay.
Not the 4th, May 4th.
I forgot to change the but you have to look at this date, not at this one. The next time our team of the Makerspace will present how they developed the facility management team. They have a lot of problems in providing access to different instruments. Check if you have the rights, if you did the right security checks. They have a lot of problems. Unfortunately, they found a solution open source only for a part of it. They will present the all what they did, and they are interested in discussing with the community in finding if they can become more open source and if there are some open source tools that can be used instead of the proprietary one that they have. So if you are interested in knowing how the Makerspace is managed and providing us feedback, register to this event. Walter Weisssteiner will do the presentation and discuss together with you and us the tools that they are using. So don't be shy, come, register to our events. We are happy to see you and happy to help you. So thank you for being here, thank you Christian, and see you next time. So, and there are some drinks still available, so discuss and enjoy it.